Fa. There must be some kind of way out of here, said the joker to the thief. With too much confusion, I can't get no relief. Businessmen, they drink my wine. Plowmen dig my earth. None of them along the line know what any of it's worth. No reason to get excited. The thief, he kindly spoke. There are many here among us who think that life is but a joke. But you and I, we've been through that. This is not our fate. So let us not speak softly now. The hour is getting late. All along the Watchtower, princes kept the view. While all the women came and went, barefoot servants too. Outside the cold distance, a wild cat did growl. Two riders were approaching, and the wind began to howl. Yeah, the wind began to howl. Must be some kind of way out of here, said the joker to the thief. With too much confusion, can't get no relief. All alone, the Watchtower. All along the Watchtower. Okay, so let's look at what I've done here in terms of the arrangement. To make it unique. There's a lot of things packed into here. First of all, it's in an open tuning, and so much of what I do is in open tunings. This is a C minor 11 tuning, so that's a low C, G, E flat, F, B flat, D. And one of my favorite tunings. It's just a beautiful tuning. It's a little bit on the haunting side. But it also lends for a really simple way to play these 3 chords. We've got C minor. We've got B flat and A flat. Now, the challenge of this song for me, this is how I think about it, is that it's the same 3 chords for the entire song. And so when I think about that, I think about how do I keep the interest. There's 2 things that are so important to think about in terms of what interests the listener. The first thing is repetition. People love repetition. It kind of puts us into a little bit of a trance, and we like that. However, if we go too deeply into a trance, we kind of fall asleep. We get a little bit like unconscious. So there's this idea of we want repetition, but we want every once in a while to break it up and add something different. And that's really been my train of thought throughout this entire arrangement. How can I keep it with those 3 chords, honor those 3 chords, it's a beautiful progression, and yet change it up sporadically throughout the song. So that's my mindset in pretty much everything I'm doing in this arrangement. Okay? First technique is an open tuning. I start out with a very simple 2-note pattern, picking pattern, 5th string, 4th string, right? The very first change up I do is that I hold that A flat at some point at the end of the phrase. So eventually, and all of a sudden that's a change. Then I actually use a substitute chord. Instead of the A flat, instead of the A flat, I use an F minor. Okay? So those are things I'm doing to the end of the phrase. New harmony, new chord. Okay? Then, that's the first, second verse. On the third verse, no need to get excited. I actually go to that kind of classic riff. And I forgot to mention palm muting. I am palm muting from the very beginning. Okay, so we continue that. And even as we change this riff, okay? Now, why I did not start it with that riff, again, is like I picture, this is kind of a long song, same 3 chords. Let me change up things throughout, even though some of them are really subtle. And let me kind of start in a completely unusual way with, you wouldn't hear that and go along the Watchtower. However, you might hear and go, oh, all along the Watchtower. So I wanted to ease into that. I wanted to start with something you wouldn't necessarily recognize. Variation on a theme, you might say. Okay. Then we bring in the theme for the 3rd and 4th verses. Right. So I've told you about all that. And we do those 3rd and 4th verses that way. And now I'm going to keep that rhythm, that kind of motif, bum, 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 bum. But as we get to all along the Watchtower, I want to open it up because this muted sound is kind of contained, controlled, compressed a little bit, right? Now I want to open the sound up for all along the Watchtower. And so what I've done is I move it up to some voicings up here. So we're changing voicings. So I have my top 3 strings ringing. instead of that tight muted, now I'm strumming and I'm not palm muting. Okay, at one point I do go to the F minor instead of the A flat again here. And so that's what we've done up to there. Okay, again, I'm going to use the word texture. The difference between texturally and this. So words like texture, color, fullness, a tight sound as to an open sound. These are ways that I think about changing things up and building, shaping the song too. So it's not just about changing things up, it's about what's the shape of this song, you know, how does it start? It starts kind of like this, and then it kind of opens up, and then, so one of the last tools that I use is that I changed the time signature on The Wind Began to Howl. Okay, so we're in 1, 2, 3, 4, the whole song. And on Wind Began to Howl, all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. And the wind began to howl. And I repeat that. Okay? It just came to me. I didn't think about necessarily, oh, let me change the tempo, but I did. I hear this as a kind of a transition piece from the open big thing that we've gotten to. I'm going to take it back down to a tight, compressed sound, like verses 3 and 4. And I'm kind of using this change in time, which changes you up, kind of goes like, it can be a little startling. It probably should be a little startling. So I'm using that as a transition to kind of say, okay, something different is coming. We're traveling, we're going, in this situation, we're going back to where we were, okay? And before we actually get to that tighter, smaller sound again, I just use a hold, you know? Take the liberty. You can take the liberty because space and holding out something really allows for, it just allows for you to ingest, I think, as a listener, to take in what just happened. You know, if we're always playing and always strumming and always picking and always do something, there's not necessarily room for a breath. Take it in, digest it, metabolize it. So in this situation, it felt really appropriate just to go, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm just holding it till it feels ready. Okay, so that's the word that comes to mind, really, contrast. How do we contrast sections? So we come back to again, it's not I asked myself, do I want to come back to that? And for some reason, I didn't. I wanted to keep, that just felt more right to me, and that's just an artistic choice, really. I can't tell you why that felt more right, but it did. So, and I just jammed out on it. I just repeated some of the first verse, and then I jammed a little bit out vocally on All Along the Watchtower, gave myself a little bit of time to just ad-lib, and then I, again, hold on there, put the pick down, and I did this beautiful pinch harmonics. And the idea is we're pinch harmonicking each of these strings, and I'm picking a note open string. Beautiful, beautiful technique. I actually learned that from a Muriel Anderson CD or DVD or instructional tape. So, and again, why did I do that? Something completely different. I love the overall feeling of this chord, the open chord, and I wanted just to take that moment at the end and kind of like just surround the whole piece in this feeling. And it felt, I could have just done that, but somehow I just chose to do the other. Okay? So a lot of different things in that arrangement. In a way, I think the simpler a song is, the more fun you can have with it in terms of how you shape it, how you shape it and move it, and kind of where you go, the journey you take with it. So I hope that was fun for you. I hope that gives you some ideas for stuff you can do on your own. And thanks for listening. And remember, if you want the breakdowns, the actual breakdown, what am I doing? Those are going to be in my channel, in my TrueFire channel. So check out the TrueFire channel. Okay. Thank you for listening, and let me know how it goes.